evening, you're watching Estuary News. I'm Hugh Riches. In the headlines tonight, the fight against hair coursing in our region, commemorating the Hull triple trawler disaster, and revelations of domestic violence in Louth. And later in tonight's programme, I'll be talking to Matt Sargent about comedy on the road, and before that, Anne Tate on this year's Northern Lincolnshire Business Awards. Lincolnshire police made further arrests this weekend in their campaign against hair coursing across the region. 8 men were arrested and 4 vehicles were seized as part of Operation Galileo. Meanwhile, Humberside police deployed officers in Eland near Scunthorpe after a tip-off of hair coursing in that area. 2 vehicles were seized and 3 men from across the country are due to appear at court on suspicion of wildlife offences. Hundreds of people will light up the Humber Bridge tonight. Survivors of sexual abuse and violence will be shining glow sticks and torches to show their solidarity while marching across the bridge. The event is organised by Blue Door, a charity that helps victims of sexual violence and domestic abuse. Hull has been remembering the 58 men whose lives were lost at sea 50 years ago. 3 ships sank off the Icelandic coast in January and February 1968. A campaign led by an army of fishwives, led by outspoken campaigner Lillian Belocker, went to better safety conditions aboard all trawlers. A memorial service took place today when an anchor was unveiled on Valiant Drive, dedicated to the men who died.
The anchor was laid on St Andrew's Dock as by Stand, who laid the anchor there as a temporary measure until a permanent memorial was found, and in 2016 that permanent memorial was established. So it was agreed to recite the bow anchor, and an appropriate place was the blocks of flats for which the 3 ships are named after, and that is very appropriate and very fitting, I believe. I think the school being here, Andrew Marvel, close proximity to the blocks of flats, I'm sure it's part of an educational process for those children as well. As I mentioned, when the Hesler Road housing was cleared, huge numbers of people from Hesler Road relocated into this area. These were new housing, and so a lot of people in this area will be able to look back at their ancestry and will have a connection to the fishing industry somewhere, I'm sure.
Everyone was determined, absolutely determined that we get something done. There was all behind us all the way. But you see, a lot of the young women didn't know about the industry like the older ones do. I'd been in it for years, in the fishing industry, and I knew all the superstitions, and one of the main ones is you don't go down the dock to wave a ship off. You can see them coming in, but not going away. You don't wash the clothes the day they go away. It's washing them away, and they're very, very superstitious. I think it's a very nice thing, and I hope all the people who live around here will honour it, and I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll bring flowers, and they'll bring the children and the grandchildren.
Meanwhile, another service took place today to mark the anniversary in Iceland. That was aboard the Odin Coast Guard vessel in Reykjavik. A tourism expert says Hull's year in the spotlight exceeded all expectations. Simon Bryson, programme leader of tourism management at Grimsby Institute, says Hull 2017 has enabled the city to enjoy a tourism boost as well as creating new jobs.
I think it's been a huge success. I think it's been fantastic for Hull, maybe not so much for us south of the river. I think the regeneration that has taken place in Hull has made a remarkable difference. In terms of job creation and wealth creation, it's been a huge success.
Is there any way of quantifying the value of city culture?
In terms of monetary value, off the top of my head, I don't know what the statistics are in terms of the amount of money that it brought in, but there has been a huge increase in visitors to Hull, and those people need places to eat, they need places to stay. There's other shops, the retail outlets. Everyone will have benefited in one way or another.
And you can see that fairly feisty edition of Hot Topic in full tonight at 8:30 here on Estuary TV. A new exhibition in Louth is highlighting domestic abuse in East Lindsey. The Soles of Our Shoes exhibition features more than 100 pairs of shoes worn by people who have suffered domestic abuse. More than 100 women are killed by abusive partners each year in the UK. Mandy Gilmore of the East Lindsey Domestic Abuse Service says that she hopes the exhibition will help to remove the stigma surrounding domestic abuse.
The exhibition was started by the Young Women's Catholic Association in Scotland. It was then recreated by the Scottish Interfaith Mission on Domestic Abuse. And we've been loaned this exhibition today to really mark our 10th anniversary of East Lindsey Domestic Abuse Service. But the idea is that the 104 shoes represent the statistics that we work on with 104 women that are murdered every year due to domestic abuse and lose their lives. So each pair of shoes represents a person. And it's about having a visual tool and bringing the statistics to life and putting names to these people, because too often we're lost in numbers, but these are human beings that have lost their lives. It's our mothers, our sisters, our fathers, our sons that lose their lives, and it's about raising awareness, challenging the myths behind domestic abuse, and keeping it in the public eye.
Domestic abuse has periodically gone up. It's been reported more and more and more. So the figures have shown that there's been a rise in reporting of domestic abuse, but that's a really good thing. In the past, domestic abuse was often seen as something that you were ashamed of and that people didn't report and kept under wraps. Now, obviously, domestic abuse has gone up, but we see that as a positive thing in that we now see that victims, male, female, people in homosexual relationships, lesbian relationships, transgender, are all now seeing that they feel that they can open up about domestic abuse and report it. And with exhibitions like this, it shows how multi-agency working is now working in a positive way in order for domestic abuse victims to go from victims to survivors. So
I think it'll benefit people in challenging the myths. You know, it doesn't just happen in council estates, it doesn't just happen to vulnerable women, it happens to strong women, it happens to strong men, it happens to everyone. And I hope that people will take away a better perspective and understanding of how damaging abusive relationships are.
And that exhibition runs until Thursday in Louth at the Bar Castillajar, or possibly Bar Castillajar, or something like that. Now, the Northern Lincolnshire Business Awards take place in May. They celebrate the great and the good of business across the region. And I'm joined now by Anne Tate from the Hull and Humber Chamber of Commerce to tell me more. Anne, welcome. Thank you very much for coming in.
It's a pleasure, Hugh.
Now, these awards are run every year, and the awards ceremony is the sort of biggest bash, really, in the business world on the South Bank, I guess, isn't it?
It is, yes. Yes, it's an annual event, and there are 14 awards open to businesses of all different shapes and sizes. So we have awards like that you would expect, like the Small Business Award and Business Growth, but also things that are a little bit different, like innovation, and we're an area that's full of innovative companies. So we hope that those sort of companies will be entering. A training award sponsored by the Grimsby Institute, and a Young Entrepreneurs Award. So if we've got any young entrepreneurs out there, young business people, we'd love to hear from you, and please do enter. Everybody thinks they're not going to win the awards, but somebody has to.
I guess. The business awards, I ask sort of, why do you need business awards? Because in business, if success is its own reward in every possible sense.
It is, and business people work extremely hard, but I think it helps to profile the businesses themselves. It helps to promote the business to the wider business community and not just within their own sphere. And it's really good for team building, because their employees work very hard, and it's a good way of celebrating their business success and for drawing a line in the sand and saying, hey, look what we've achieved, we've done really well. And of course it's great for the area.
If people want to nominate companies or businesses or enterprises, how do they do that?
Well, you go to, you obviously get their permission,
right,
because we need that. But if you go to our website, which is the 3ws.nlinksba.co.uk, you can enter on there online and read all about the awards and all the different categories and how to apply to go to the dinner, etc. You can also follow us on Twitter, and as the awards, as we get towards the night itself,
excitement builds.
Yeah, excitement builds, and it's a really great thing to watch it all happening through the Twitter.
When is the award ceremony itself?
The award ceremony is on the 18th of May, and it's at Grimsby Auditorium. It's a black tie event, so posh frocks and black tie.
If people want to go, they can get in touch in the same way.
Yeah,
to get tickets
look on the
that.
website, and as I say, follow us at North Links BA, and then you'll be able to keep in touch with all the different awards happenings and goings on.
I've been to a few of these, and they are great fun. It's an absolutely splendid
Please
evening.
enjoyed it.
What's in store this year?
Well, we've got the theme for this year is Beauty and the Beast. I mean, who doesn't love Beauty and the Beast? It's such a universal favourite. We've got performers from the West End of London coming, and we're also utilising our student performers from the Performing Arts section of Grimsby Institute, and they're going to be performing actually with these professionals.
It sounds absolutely wonderful, Anne. Thanks so much for coming on.
It's a pleasure, Hugh.
Join me after the break. Jack will bring us a roundup of all the latest sports news, and I'll be talking to Matt Sargent about comedy on the road. Welcome back. You're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, Jack brings us a roundup of all the latest sporting action, and Matt Sargent will be telling me about comedy on the road. North Lincolnshire Council is to use new powers to tackle highway verge damage across the county. Highways officers can now issue new community protection notices to those who damage highway verges. The new legislation allows the council to issue warnings to people whose actions have a detrimental effect on the neighbourhood. People will either be issued with an £80 fixed penalty notice or taken to court. Children and young people in Hull will be able to find out how to keep safe online as part of Safer Internet Day tomorrow. Teachers will be educating pupils on the risks and pitfalls of surfing the web. A booklet has been produced by the Hull Safeguarding Children Board's online safety partnership group, offering advice to parents and guardians of young children. The Awareness Day is organised by ChildNet International. This year's theme is Creating a Better Internet for Everyone. Major roadworks start in Cleethorpes next week to try to reduce collisions at the junction of Grimsby Road and Rosemary Way. Road humps will be installed on the Grimsby Road eastbound and westbound approaches to the roundabout in order to make the road safer for both motorists and pedestrians. Work starts on Monday, should be lasting about a week. There's a new photographic gallery of marine creatures at the Deep in Hull. The exhibition is the work of underwater photographer Nuno Vasco Rodrigues. He has a special interest in fish ecology and uses his images as a tool for research, conservation and education. Nuno's work has only been in the UK once before as part of the 2017 Manchester Science Festival. The work is now on display until the end of January 2019. The second phase of a major refurbishment project has started at a North Lincolnshire hospice. Work has started on refurbishing 6 ensuite rooms at Lindsay Lodge Hospice as part of its Sponsor a Patient Room appeal, which has raised more than £75,000. The hospice is also developing its 4-bedded multi-occupancy accommodation. The refurbishment programme is expected to take 6 weeks and is being carried out by local contractors. Now, a comedy play is going to be touring North East Lincolnshire coming up this spring, and I'm joined now by Matt Sargent, the author, to tell me more about it. Matt, thanks very much for coming in.
My pleasure.
Now, what's it called?
The play's called Swingers.
Right.
Which is pretty obvious what it's going to be about.
Yeah, you can't get into too much detail of what's happening here, but various people get involved in various circumstances.
Yeah, the main guy is pretty frustrated with his marital life, so decides to set up a swingers club. Some join for the right reasons, some for the wrong reasons, some accidentally. Some think it's a swimming club, some a slimming club.
Right, something like dyslexia.
Yeah, so there's a lot of clashes of very strange characters going on.
I take it it's not really a show for children.
Yeah, it was 14 plus. We've kind of said it's not crude, but there are elements in there which are not for young ears.
You're touring it around North East Lincolnshire. I'm not aware that there are all that many theatres to tour around North East Lincolnshire.
No, I mean we're starting off at the Caxton Theatre, which is where we first performed it about 9 years ago. And then we're going to, I've got a list here because I knew I'd forget some of them. The Caxton Theatre, Caister Town Hall, Fulstow Village Hall, Horncastle Lion Theatre, the Parkway Cinema at Cleethorpes, Louth Riverhead Theatre and the Bawtry Phoenix Theatre.
If people want to get tickets and want to know where you're going to be and when, how do they get in touch?
There's the mjstheatre.com website that will point you in the direction of all the venues. But the Caxton's, Louth and the Parkway have got their own website with tickets on sale there.
Okay, I mistakenly said you're going around North East Lincolnshire, you're going around Northern Lincolnshire.
Well, anywhere it will take us, really.
Okay, I mean, did it 9 years ago, as you said. How did it go down then?
It went brilliantly. It was a great cast, a very funny cast to work with. We then did a sequel about 3 years ago with 6 of the 8 cast, which also went down well. So we talked about revamping the original, and we got together at the end of last year and decided that's it, we're going to give it a crack. So yeah, it's a big show to take round. It's difficult, but
how many is it? Cast of thousands?
It's a cast of 8. 7 of whom did it originally 9 years ago, which is nice to work with all those again. But we've got originally it was a big set on the stage. Now we've had to kind of simplify it a little bit to take around with us. But yeah, it's a good show. It's
I guess it's not quite. There's a limit to how much you can simplify it because it's a sort of farce. It sounds.
There are farcical elements to it. There's very character comedy. The situation itself. There's a little bit of pathos there as well. There's some more serious underlying themes in small parts of it, but it's on the whole it's a comedy. Yeah.
9 years ago, that's a long time between productions. Have you been writing anything else in between?
Yeah, we toured a show last year called The 69 Shades of Beige. That went really well.
There's a bit of a theme to what you write, Matt, isn't there?
Yeah, well, it's good titles that get people interested. So, but we work hard at making them funny, at making the production elements sort of higher quality as we can, and moving it around so everyone gets a chance to see it if they so wish. Any
plans to get either this production or whatever else you write put on to not to a bigger audience, but to audiences across the country, or is it exclusive to North Lincolnshire?
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult with a cast of 8, many of whom work full time. So that's the holdback really. Later on in the year, there's 3 of us touring another show, which we hopefully will take a little bit wider, further afield, and then hopefully we can just keep expanding a little bit more.
Also written by you?
It will be. It's not yet though.
Ah, I see.
It's a work in progress at the minute.
The deadlines are looming there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a quick reminder, if people want to get the tickets and find out your schedule.
Yeah, you go on the Caxton Theatre website, the Louth Playgoers website, the Parkway Cinema website, or mjstheatre.com.
Matt, I won't say good luck because that's unlucky, but break a leg. Thanks
Thank you very much.
Here's Jack with all the sports news.
We'll start with football, and Hull City's season has taken a whole new turn for the worse. The Tigers are now in the relegation zone, having fallen into the bottom 3 after a 2-1 defeat to Preston North End on Saturday. Jared Bowen's 12th goal of the season on the half-hour mark had given City the lead at Deepdale. However, Greg Cunningham drew Preston level shortly afterwards, before Alan Brown's strike on the stroke of half-time sealed a comeback win for the hosts. Hull dropped to 22nd in the Championship table. They're 1 point adrift of Barnsley, who sit directly above the drop zone. In League One, Scunthorpe United returned to winning ways in a topsy-turvy encounter away at Fleetwood Town. The Iron won 3-2 at Highbury Stadium to register their first league victory in 5 games to strengthen their promotion ambitions. United went 2 goals in front thanks to a double from Josh Morris, his second coming from the penalty spot. Morris slotted home the penalty for his 11th goal of the season after Fleetwood defender Ashley Easton was sent off for handling the ball in the area. But despite being down to 10 men, the Cod Army fought back to 2-2, with strikes from Ashley Hunter and Bobby Grant. That wasn't the end of the drama though, as Ivan Toney expertly curled home a free kick 12 minutes from time, as Scunthorpe solidify 4th place in the table. On to League 2 now, and the long wait for a Grimsby Town league win is still going on. The Mariners were pegged back by Cheltenham Town as they drew 1-1 at Blundell Park on Saturday. Simeon Jackson took only 3 minutes to score in his Grimsby debut, following his deadline day loan move from Walsall. Despite going into half-time 1-0 in front, Town just couldn't hold on, conceding 13 minutes from time when Will Boyle struck for Cheltenham. It's now 11 games without a win for the Mariners, with the club seemingly stranded in low and mid-table, 15 points off the playoffs and 9 above the relegation zone. On to Rugby League now, and it was defeat for Hull Kingston Rovers on their return to the Super League. The Robins lost 28-6 at home to Wakefield Trinity on Friday night to condemn Tim Sheen's men to an opening day loss. The visitors started impressively as they ran in 4 first-half tries to take an 18-0 half-time lead at the Cacom Craven Park. Chris Clarkson then scored Rovers' only try of the game after the break, but Tom Johnston was the star of the game for Trinity as his hat-trick sealed a convincing win for the visitors. And finally, a roundup of the games involving our local rugby union sides. In Yorkshire Division 1, Hull Enzians went down 28-12 away at league leaders York. Enzians put up a good fight against champions-elect York, with Ollie Dynan and Josh Langford running in tries for the visitors. York have won 17 of the 18 games this season, and they were ultimately too strong for a much-changed Hellensian side, who stay in 10th. Meanwhile, Beverley made it 7 wins on the bounce, with a 31-10 victory against Selby at the iconic Beaver Park. The game acted as a memorial game to celebrate the life of Lee Morley, a friend of the Beavers who sadly passed away last year. Proceeds from the match and lunch raised a total of £3,000 to be donated to Ward 29 at Castle Hill Hospital, where Lee was cared for. On the pitch, the mighty Beavers stay second in the table with 71 points, 10 behind York. That's all for the sport. Back to Hugh in the studio.
Thank you, Jack. That's all for tonight. If you've a news story for us, then please visit our Facebook or Twitter pages. Details appearing under my chin here. Email news@estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 01472 3155553 or write to us at Estuary TV, Nuns Corner, Laceby Road, Grimsby, North East Lincolnshire, DN 34 5BQ. Until tomorrow, from all of us, good evening.